So my name is Randy Kaiko. Um, I am the founder of Crowdfrica. So Crowdfrica is basically a crowdfunding platform that makes it easy for people around the world to contribute as low as $5 to support life-saving surgeries or medical treatments, as well as public school classroom supplies that they need. So when you visit Crowdfrica, you see campaigns, basically profiles of people in need of life-saving surgeries. The title, basically their story, what is wrong with them, the reason why they can't afford the treatment that they need, and then you can contribute that funds that they need, contribute any amounts that you can contribute to that particular story. And once it is fully funded, we give the money to the medical provider, and then later send you an update, how the surgery went and how happy they are, and how every amount or every dollar was used. So I started Crowdfrica after I lost my own brother because we couldn't afford to take him to the hospital. That was late 2014. And then at the moment I was high school graduate, so I was just looking for something to do with my life. When that happened, I knew in my mind that I would want to use technology to help find solutions to that. But initially I didn't know what to do. So the first thing I did was to go to the clinics. We have CHIP compounds, which are small hospitals or small clinics that the government has created in very underserved, hard to reach communities. And then I visited about 4 of those clinics and visited about 5 communities around my area, and spoke to the nurses, spoke to the community members, asked them basically generally what the health problems are. So shockingly, what came up first was people could not afford the medical treatments that they need. And so because of that, they don't go to the clinics at all. They rather go to the farm and get some herbal, some leaves, and come and cook them and then drink them. But the issue here is that they don't know what is wrong with them. And then they don't know whether they're getting better or not. So what the first idea that came to mind was I decided to find friends, that when somebody in the village or a neighboring village or my village kind of like fall sick and they need some money to go to the hospital, we will go around and solicit for funds to support the person. Now, we actually didn't start that at all, because anyone I spoke with came up with questions like, so you're coming to the same people that do not have the money, to collect money to support another person. What if that person you took the money from is also sick, right? And how many people do you really need to scale this thing, right? To reach different communities and all of that. So what happened was that, I spent a lot of time on the internet trying to find solutions, share my kind of like the issue that I'm going through and what I'm thinking of. So I found this course by Stanford University, which was free online technology entrepreneurship. So that taught me about how to kind of like learn more about the problems, and then speak to people about your idea, and then start a technology startup. And then I had a friend that we were working on the same project. One day she sent me a link, and the link was talking about crowdfunding and how in the USA entrepreneurs with ideas, products that they want to bring to market, but don't have the funding to do so, are developing websites and putting images, images of the products and details of the product on the website, and people contribute to those projects and then make it come to life. So I saw one crowdfunding platform, and then I saw the product and the description. I was like, oh, this could be what could actually help fund people, right? The picture of the product could be a picture of somebody in need of a life-saving surgery, and the detail of that product could be the story of the person, where they live, the condition they've been diagnosed with, how much it will cost. And then maybe those stories and details will touch somebody's heart, and then they could contribute to their condition. So that is how we started. We started with funding the Ghana's national health insurance for people, because it was very low cost. $10, $20 will fund a whole year of the national health insurance for a child. And then we progressed with funding, raising funds for our first patients, whom I met during the interview with the clinics, right? And she had a tumor on the eye, and it cost around $650 US, which was raised in 3 days after we launched her campaign by 3 Ghanaians. So that was amazing. And then we decided to add more patients onto the platform. At this moment, we have 1,015 people that have been funded on a platform to get life-saving surgeries, from $650 to $35,000 US, where the patient was taken to India for a surgery. Honestly, it was very slow from there, right? Very slow. I think the next month we had about 1 or 2 donations in the first month. But I spent most of my time in the village, trying to look for beneficiaries, right? Because the few people that we had about 10 campaigns on the platform. They were fully funded, and it wasn't much, right? It was $20, $10, so it wasn't much. So I spent more time in the villages trying to figure out, some of the people that will benefit greatly from the national health insurance. And so I had to go back and partner with the social welfare, because they had programs like LEAP. Basically, they work with underserved communities to provide, some support for them, right? So they already had list of communities that they think people needed that medical support or that national health insurance, because they couldn't, afford their treatment. But even the basic $10, or less than $10 national health insurance, they couldn't, afford it. So they actually had a list of people that have actually came to their office or submitted their names that they needed the national health insurance. They gave it to us, and then we had to visit, take pictures, and kind of get the details. One most important thing about Crowdfrica is that till now, we still meet almost every person that we put on the platform. So where I'm talking right now, this is where we take most of our pictures of patients that are in need. And so in the first month, that was basically what I was doing, trying to figure out all of that. And since then, we've been very slow. There are months that we actually even don't get any contribution, and that is what we are working on right now. And that is what I think the operational funding will support us to get more team members. And then we basically have been doing what I would say not non-paid marketing, so just word of mouth, social media, me talking to people that I know, people, and then asking them to talk to people that they know. But right now, we are building technology to empower the beneficiaries, at least some beneficiaries, because from our experience, most of our beneficiaries are in communities that their network is not really powerful enough to support their campaign. Like, no matter what they do, their families and friends don't have enough to actually, or don't have even the technology to share the campaigns and all of that, right? But then we've also supported some patients in Accra here, where we've seen some people benefiting from their church sharing their campaign. So now the idea is that we're building more technology or support or processes to support or empower them to raise their own money. Late night around 4 a.m. and then said, hey Randy, my sister's friend in school, my sister's friend, high school, I think the final year, fainted in school, and then they took her to the hospital, but they think they need a surgery, and the surgery will cost about 3,500 cedis. It's around $400.
What was wrong with her?
So she had appendicitis, right? Appendicitis, and it has been with her for a while, because they didn't know what was wrong with her, and they've been to some healthcare facilities, but then they were not having that systems to diagnose, her to know exactly what was wrong with her until she fainted and was taken to the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. And that was when we found out that she needed the surgery immediately. And so we did that for her. And now we did that for her. She was happy. She went back to school and then actually finished her final exams, and that was really good. The challenges in building this platform, first of all, I'm a high school graduate, so I would say, I didn't have a lot of work experience in this. But the biggest challenge has been building the technology, especially payments. Africa here, we are improving, right? We have now Paystacks and other platforms, but then that has been our biggest challenge, right? When it comes to platforms like PayPal, Stripe, all those top-notch, very secured payment systems are not available. They're still not available in the country, right? So that was the biggest challenge, where we partnered with a US-based nonprofit that allowed us in the beginning to accept international payments, because locally the payment system, the mobile money system was not coming up. People were used to transfer funds to family and friends and not using online payments. So payment system was one. But then I think the basic one was people are not used to online payments, even still, except those tech savvies, in a small community of people that are really tech savvies and know how to use their credit card and all of that. But so adaptation has been an issue. So we've grown slowly instead of really quick, like the way I actually wanted the platform to grow, right? So I think we still need more education and training and awareness in terms of what crowdfunding is and how to use platforms like that to actually raise funds. So the healthcare system in Ghana is definitely better than many years back, but we still have a long way to go. So one big issue with the healthcare system here is the out of pockets payments. Thank God we have the national health insurance, which really helps. But then it still covers a good number of medications and treatments and all of that. Really helps. But then most people still have to contribute a lot from their own pockets, and that's actually affect them financially years back. So I know somebody that right now, they basically, the family have stored almost everything from land to clothing and everything to make sure that this boy who jumped, who was high jumping and then had a spinal cord break, and that costs a lot, right? And that is the case we are currently working on right now. So when I did my first interview with the clinics that I visited, right, it was a number of things, right? The first thing was people couldn't afford the treatment, so out-of-pocket payments was the issue. The second thing was lack of equipment, basic equipment like thermometers and all of that they weren't available in those clinics. I mean, big hospitals have them. But then when we went so I did interview with the clinics in the villages, and I came to the city and spoke to the best in the country, right? So spoke to some nurses in 37 hospital, and shockingly, the out of people can't afford the treatment was one, but then they needed things like ventilation issue. They wanted air conditioning, they wanted air beds, right? Or water beds for patients, because the wooden beds weren't good for them. So the ultimate goal is to be the go-to place for individuals, groups, organizations. I don't want to say the government, but eventually the government, to fund healthcare and education projects on our platform, right? Anyone who thinks of it, especially we really want it to be the Africa's main platform for people to support healthcare and education. At this time, there used to be this 10 years challenge on the internet. I was like, okay, the next 10 years, we want to raise $50, which is our current average contribution on our platform, right? So if we get 2 million people to give $50, then it means that in the next 10 years we can do 100 million US dollars to support life-saving surgeries and classroom supplies, and that is our goal.